Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And here we have a replay of a game with my friend, I'll just call him Dave, and Why So Sexy, otherwise known as Sexy Martin. Martin's in the Alba, and Dave's in the T-61. This is very much Tier 8 game. 5 Tier 8s, 2 Tier 7s, and 5 Tier 6s. And Dave needs to be careful here because he's potentially going to come up against an Icarus, not so much of a big problem, which I'll explain in a moment, or potentially or an Akizuki, which is theoretically a very big problem for him. Now the Icarus, if Dave finds himself coming head to head with that, it's not so difficult to control the engagement. Dave's got German Hydro and Smoke, and able to disengage or even attack if the Icarus smokes up. And the Icarus firepower is not that good compared to the T-61. However, if Dave finds himself coming up against the Akizuki, that's a completely different ballgame. The Akizuki's quad turret arrangements of 2 100mm guns in each turret is going to pump out a lot of pain in a very short space of time. So Dave has to be very wary of bumping into the Akizuki. One thing that could potentially be working in his favour is that the Akizuki's turret reverse is relatively slow. Mind you, so is Dave's, but from a point of view of being able to disengage, that's something hopefully he doesn't have to rely on, but if necessary it could work to his advantage. Now, as is quite often the case with a CV in play on this map, destroyers are very tentative and reluctant to go into the B cap initially, because it's quite often the case that you'll get a destroyer going in and he doesn't get any kind of support from his own CV, and then the enemy CV can just hunt him down and wear him down very quickly, especially with the rocket planes. And with the Ranger, the dive bombers are very much going to be a threat to Dave here. T-61 not exactly known for its AA. It's not, I wouldn't even call it average, it's actually quite poor. So really don't want to have to rely on that to get him out of trouble if at all possible. Now, the team has split evenly between A and B. And fortunately for Dave, the Icarus was spotted heading out towards A, and the Akizuki has been spotted over on the 9-10 line. So he's tentatively, let's put it that way, moving into B to see if he can get the cap. The enemy rocket planes are over on D1 at the moment, so the enemy Ranger is currently preoccupied. And Dave's hoping that he's got enough time to just get in here, get the cap, and then move on to bigger and better things. Now, as is quite often the case with this map, you get a group of ships above A and a group of ships below A in a bit of a standoff, neither one particularly wanting to make the first move. And Dave's eyeing up, as you can see, that clump of enemy ships over there, thinking, well, I wish this cap counter would hurry up so that I can get over there and start sending some torps into them. Now, for the most part, let's see what the destroyers are doing. The Akizuki is playing it relatively cautious, it would seem. Over there, there's a Benson and, well, it was a Pensacola. But the enemy CV is now helping out over on that flank. So the Benson, which doesn't have bad AA, especially against a Tier 6 aircraft carrier, needs to be a bit careful. Fortunately, he's got a bit of AA backup not too far behind him. The Icarus, spotted heading over in this direction, or towards the A-cap I should say. Still not making a play on the A-cap, which is a bit confusing to me. Not entirely sure what he's doing over there, apart from not very much. Dave spotted the Johnny not doing anything, kind of resting on his laurels there, it would seem, and sending over some torps in his direction to see if he can get lucky over there. So these two of them looking good. Johnny is tunnel visions with sending long-range fire, and realised, oh dear, I've got torpedoes coming. Why didn't I put a det flag on? Oops. Nice way to open your account there, Dave. Now let's see. The Icarus has clearly not come into the ACAP all this time. Really don't know where he is or what he's doing. And Dave's got an easy run into the cap and cross torps into hopefully this North Carolina that seems to be quite slowly moving up here. As is the case, the island at C12 seems to be magnetic because it always draws battleships close to it and behind it. I really don't know why. It always happens. Whenever I'm playing on this map, battleships seem to congregate over there and then do nothing. Yes. I don't really know what else to say about those three, but there you go. So, torps looking pretty good on the NorCal. And let's see how many can land. Hopefully 2. Oh, just the 1. Red sort of flood. Looks like it might be sticky. No, NorCal has damage conned.
Engine boost activated.
This really is the ideal location for a destroyer with a slow battleship push up the 1, 2, 3 lines. Just sit here, pumping out torps whenever you can. Now, Dave's captain's build is a torp build for the T-61. And here are his equipment slots. And there finally is the Icarus. Let's see what he wants to bring to the party. He's smoking up because he's got spotted.
Smoke generator started.
Dave's smoking up. Also, the Icarus is going to be just inside, just outside hydro range. But hopefully he is meandering forward slowly. Now, from the Icarus's point of view, what I would be thinking about doing would be getting further away from the T-61 because German hydro, and although he's got a number of ships behind him on his team, as he approaches he's going to get picked up by the German hydro, which is better than the British one, and the T-61 really is very much in control of this engagement. So I personally would be backing off and getting away. Dave's pumping out some torps towards the Icarus's smoke, and okay, the Icarus is sitting there, not entirely sure why. Maybe he's preoccupied with something else. Maybe he's thinking about his shopping list or what he's going to have for dinner. No, he's finally moving off. Maybe there's hope for him yet. Now, quick assessment on the map overall, the battle, is that things are not going great. Dave's team's now 5 ships down. They've abandoned the sea cap. The Benson decided to go back in and got himself picked off. Martin, the King George, and the Amagi are wisely backing off, kiting away, seeing what they can do as they retreat. And the enemy team has really pushed through albeit slowly. And Dave is looking to blunt their attack. Send some torpedoes towards the Gneisenau as a priority, and hopefully blunt their advance. Give them pause for thought. Now, fortunately for Dave, the Gneisenau seems to be rail sailing as he's more preoccupied with the 2 North Carolinas in front of him. So Dave's able to send out some long-range torps, but as you can see on the map, the Gneisenau seems to have adjusted course slightly, but we'll have to see whether or not that affects the torpedo spreads that Dave sent out. So he's having to back off slightly because the enemy North Carolina is heading due east now. But those torpedoes are looking pretty good on the Gneisenau, and there you go. Dave consistently giving his team time to adjust, time to regroup, time to fight back. And
Engine boost activated.
unfortunately, his team so far seems to be unable to capitalize on Dave's efforts, but we shall have to see how the game progresses further. Another NorCal has fallen. That makes the death toll of the ships 6-3. But fortunately, the points are relatively close, and indeed now looking much better for Dave's team. Again, thanks to Dave's effort, he's already on to 91,000 damage, 3 kills, and they lose the last remaining North Carolina over on the western flank. Now, Dave's quite wisely changing his line of attack here, because the Icarus is relatively out in the open, so he could go after him, but the Icarus does have support, and as you can see, the rocket planes from the enemy Ranger are lurking around in that area, but Dave's also spotted the enemy Monarch over at the sea cap. Is now by himself, and hopefully relatively easy prey. So he's going to go over here, hopefully finish off the Monarch, and potentially grab the sea cap back. Hopefully looking to capitalize on the division of the enemy forces. However, possible fly in the ointment for this plan is the Bayard. He's, from Dave's point of view, a particularly dangerous threat, especially with that speed boost, and should Dave be unlucky enough to be spotted, then the Bayard is going to make really short work of him. Indeed, the Bayard's coming south and looking to defend the sea cap. Dave decided, well, he's baited the shot from the Monarch, so the Monarch's going to be still visible through his smoke, and Dave can hopefully set a fire, and his torpedoes will be ready again in only a few seconds. And this really is doom for the Monarch. Firing his guns there was really the last thing he wanted to do. And any second now, the Monarch's going to appear inside the Hydro range. Dave wisely holding back another set. There's the second set, off it goes. Just needing 2 more torpedoes out of this second set. Hopefully those 2. Oh, that's pretty unlucky. Managing to squeeze the Monarch through that little gap there between the second and fourth torpedo. Dave having to just finish him off with a few volleys. Can reverse safely back into the smoke, break line of contact, and go back into stealth. Bayard's done a complete circle back over to the 10 line. Not entirely sure why, but nonetheless, this is good news for Dave. Dave can scurry into the sea cap, hopefully flip that back over towards his team, and hopefully start to arrest this gap forming in the points here. Having said that, of course, the overall situation is looking pretty grim. The 3 remaining teammates are being herded into an ever smaller area of the map. Dave's team's completely lost all map control of note. And the NorCal saying we need to cap. Well, yeah, that is true, but more importantly, you also need to stop dying, which is really where the bulk of the enemy team's points is going to be coming from over the next few minutes. And can't help but think this is Dave fighting a lost cause here. They desperately need to kill one, preferably two enemy ships. Presumably that's the enemy Icarus, who's now flipping the B cap. Enemy rocket planes coming in to make Dave's life hell a bit hell. And that's where we find out that or confirm rather, that the T-61's AA really isn't much to hold up against Rangers fighters. Having said that, egg on my face, there's a plane kill, albeit that's really all that he's going to be able to get.
The enemy's about to win.
Oh, it's unlucky. Very unlucky. Smoked up there to break line of sight. Hopefully evade the drop from the Ranger. Ranger was able to land a few rocket hits there. Hardly any damage done to Dave, but most importantly, the cap counter was reset. And now we only have Dave and Martin left alive. The enemy team is over 300 points in the lead, and only 3.5 minutes left on the counter. So it's going to need some Herculean effort here from Dave and Martin to pull this one back. Dave wisely switching on his hydro in anticipation of the arrival of the Icarus. And the Icarus was last seen roughly on half health. So let's see if Dave can get himself a Kraken. There you go. Icarus on just 6,500 health. Dave's on just under 12. Should be able to take care of this guy without too much trouble. And Kraken incoming. There you go. No, nothing to see here. Didn't see a thing. No. There's the enemy CV. And indeed, the points are insurmountable now. And that is in fact the last damage that Dave was able to get. As you can see, congratulations, very well deserved congratulations coming in from both Dave's team and the enemy team. And we'll speed it up there, and I'll leave you with the results screens. A very, very good game from Dave. And incidentally, he got 5 compliments at the end of this game. Very well deserved. Well done indeed, sir. Shame you weren't able to carry over to the win, but did your best you could there. Well played.